Right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the meeting of the Cabinet today on Wednesday, the 5th of June, 2024. Before I just do the usual preamble, I'd just like to remind all members of the Cabinet and other members of the Council not on Cabinet that we are within a restricted period at the moment, and therefore we are not permitted to be making any political points or having political debates, which might seem a little odd given that we're a political council, but never mind, we are under the legislation now. So if there are any, please try and refrain from any political, what could be conceived as political comments during the meeting. And if any are made, then I'm most certain that the chief executive of the monitoring officer
poised and ready
will intervene. They've got the fingers at the ready. That said, I don't anticipate there being too many issues. There aren't any particularly major issues on the agenda. Anyway, as we've now started, I'd like to outline some housekeeping rules. There are no planned fire alarms, so if an alarm does sound, please leave via the emergency exits as indicated. And can I please request that all mobile phones are kept on silent, or switched off, Councillor Tomlinson. So, for those that don't know, Matthew's waiting for his hat-trick of meetings now. Yeah, can we have your mobile phones off, please? And as usual, we'll just quickly start with introductions. So I'm Councillor Paul Foster, and I'm the leader of the council.
Hi, I'm Aniela Belinsky-Gelder, the deputy leader of the council and the cabinet member for communities, housing and visitor economy.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm Councillor Matthew Tomlinson. I'm the council's cabinet member for finance, assets and commercialisation.
Good afternoon, Councillor Colin Sharples, cabinet member for customer services and digital.
Good afternoon, Kath Unsworth, Councillor, Cabinet Member for Environment and Street Scene.
Councillor Claire Hunter, Cabinet Member for Leisure and Wellbeing.
Councillor Jackie Alty, Cabinet Member for Licensing, Social Justice, Equality and Diversity.
And Councillor Ian Watkinson, Cabinet Member, Economic Growth, Planning and Investment.
Chris, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Chris Sinnott, I'm the Chief Executive of the Council.
Sorry, very political, Chair. Chris Moister, I'm the Director of Governance and Council Monitoring Officer.
Sarah Bullock, Deputy Chief Executive.
Gail Wootton, Director of Planning and Property.
Caroline Wolfenden, Director of Change and Delivery.
Carol Aspey, Democratic and Member Services Officer.
Thanks everyone, and in particular I'd like to welcome Councillor Kath Unsworth to her first meeting of the Cabinet. Welcome, Kath. All the members of the Cabinet are attending in person here in the Civic Centre with our officers. Other members of the Council are dialing in via Teams to observe and or participate in the meeting. Please all do note that the meeting is recorded and is being live streamed on YouTube, and the web link for this can be found on the Council's website. And finally, if any members are on Teams, can I ask you keep your microphone on mute and only unmute when you wish to speak. We'll now move forward to the agenda. Apologies, I don't think there are any apologies at all. No. Any declarations of interest? If a member has a pecuniary interest, they are requested to leave the meeting completely. The member can rejoin the meeting following the completion of the item in question. Does anyone have any interests to declare? No, thank you. Agenda item 3, the minutes of the last meeting. I have the minutes of the last meeting in front of me for approval. Do any members of the Cabinet have any points of accuracy on the minutes, and may I propose them for approval? Okay, formally proposed. Do I have a seconder, please?
Seconded.
Seconded by Councillor Belinsky. All those were asked to confirm our approval by a show of hands, please. The minutes are approved unanimously. Agenda item 4 is the Cabinet forward plan. As usual, the link for the forward plan is within the agenda, and that sets out the work of the Cabinet for the next 6 to 12 months. And as usual, I always say there's a lot of business in there for both Cabinet and Council to consider over the next few months. Does any members of the Cabinet have any comments on the forward plan? No. Do any members not on Cabinet have any comments on the Cabinet's forward plan? No. Okay, we are asked to note that. It's duly noted. Agenda item 5 is the key contracts and partnerships framework refresh. And the purpose of the report is to present the key contracts and partnerships framework to Cabinet for approval. The reason we have this and in front of us is to ensure that the framework remains fit for purpose and supports aligned ways of working within our shared services with Chorley. In outline, the Council is involved in many contracts and partnerships with many different partners. The framework differentiates the level of governance and risk management required based on the following 5 criteria: the financial value, their impact on the delivery of the Council's strategic objectives, how reliant the Council is on the proposed partner for service delivery, where there is a significant degree of risk, and the length or timescale of the commitment within that contract, and they're deemed to be significant. You'll then, as we go through, you'll see where there's been some changes within this refreshed document, basically aligning it with the shared framework across Chorley and South Ribble councils. We've introduced a checklist for identifying key contracts and partnerships, and I do recall this was something that was discussed at the governance committee. We're reformatting the layout so it's easier to understand. Introducing a governance self-assessment for the responsible officers to complete, stating how spot checks will be introduced within the framework, and updating the role of the responsible officer. And finally, colleagues, just to confirm who the key contracts that have been and partnerships that have been identified within the framework currently. It's South Ribble Leisure, Fernstep, the City Deal, IDOCS, NEC, Civica, Shared Services, the Local Plan, Select Move, Enge House, Goss, Blackpool Council, who run our payroll, and Capita. Do any members of Cabinet have any questions or queries about the refreshed key contracts and partnerships framework? No. I'm happy to propose we approve. Before I ask any members not on Cabinet, do I have a seconder?
Seconded.
Thanks, Councillor Blinsky. Do any members not on Cabinet have any questions or queries about the key contracts and partnerships framework? No. Okay, we've been asked to approve the framework. It's been proposed and seconded. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, agenda item 6, South Ribble Energy Contract Award. Councillor Matthew Tomlinson to present this item.
Thanks, Chair. So the purpose of this item is to provide an update on our procurement processes for utilities and to obtain executive member approval to allow Inspire Energy PLC to act as our agent for the procurement of energy for gas and electricity. We previously used Yorkshire Purchasing Organisation for purchasing our gas and electricity. But basically, that's all they did. They just bought our gas and electricity for us. There was no management of the contracts, no verification of how much electricity and gas we used, and no assistance for the council either when contracts were coming to an end. It all had to come back in-house. Under the new contract, we do get all those. Inspired Energy will act as our agent, and so will carry out all those procedures for us. Obviously, as the finance portfolio holder, I'm particularly pleased with the table that you'll see on page 2 of the report, which is page 24 of Cabinet, which shows that going down this route, we're projecting a saving of some £156,000 across gas and electricity, which to me in the current climate is a great news story. So that being said, the recommendations, Chair, to Cabinet are that approval is given to award the contract for electricity so we've had some debate here whether it's Brit or Bright Energy, but it's just for accuracy, it's BRYT. I'm going to go with Bright. Bright Energy, following a recent tender exercise carried out by Inspired Energy. The approval for gas is given to Corona Energy, and we agree to Inspired Energy, our agents, to begin a procurement exercise on behalf of the council for supply of water to all of our properties. As I say, good news story, saving £156,000 in the current climate, and to get a partner on board that seems, on the face of it, they're going to be far more proactive than YPO ever were. And I'm happy to move those recommendations.
Thanks, Matthew. I think if there was an E at the end of it, I'd go for the Bright, but I'm going to refer to them as Brit, as we did in the Cabinet Office. But right, no, it's great news, isn't it? It's a really good news story, particularly given the significant challenges and pressure that we've been on with utilities the last couple of years. So it's good, and thank you and the officers for bringing this forward so quickly. I'm more than happy to second the proposal. Matthew, do any Cabinet members have any comments or queries or questions for Matthew? No. Do any members not on Cabinet have any questions for Councillor Tomlinson on this? Okay, so the recommendations Councillor Tomlinson has presented, they've been seconded. All those in favour? That's approved. Thank you. Okay, it is difficult not to be sustained. I was going to mention the water, but I'm not allowed to, so we'll go forward to agenda item 7, which is the refurbishment of New Longton play area, and that's presented by Councillor Matthew Tomlinson.
Thank you, Chair. And I don't think it's political at all to say that I welcome this report as a sign of this council's continued commitment to improving playgrounds right across the borough. The latest one is in New Longton on Chapel Lane, and the contract is, the recommendation is that the contract is awarded to a company called Compan for a price of £135,000. Significant investment in that playground. It's a cost that's already in the budget, so it's not the money we're talking about tonight, really. It's the award of the contract. But we know Compan, we've used them before, and I think, it'll be another little jewel into our estate of playgrounds right across the borough. And I'm happy to recommend we award the contract to Compan.
Thanks, Matthew. I'm just looking in the report. I don't think it specifically says, but I think we're expecting this to be complete by late summer, early autumn.
Weather permitting. But yes, that would be the hope and the aspiration. Yes.
And Cabinet colleagues will recall that this was we did make a decision as a Cabinet to slightly delay this procurement for all the right reasons. That and now it's back in front of us this evening for decision and contract award. So Councillor Tomlinson has proposed that we award the contract to Complan Limited for a fixed price of £135,000. Do I have a seconder?
Seconded.
Thanks, Councillor Bielinski. Any queries or comments from anyone on Cabinet? Matthew. Councillor Arty?
It's just a comment, really. Having looked at the impact assessment and equality and diversity issues, it's a shame that there's not more in the body. I'm not criticising the writer, because obviously you've got to get everything tied in neatly. But I read that there was so much more accessibility and inclusivity into the planning and proposed design. So it's just, I'm just sad it's not explicit, but clearly it says it in the equality and diversity section. Just love to see it in the body. Thanks.
And I think you see that as a pattern across all our playground improvements. So that we will have specially adapted swings, soft play areas, all these kind of things are just built in now. And I think, we've always said, haven't we, that that's what we aspire to for everything that the council does, that equality and diversity is just built in. It's not something that's bolted on. It's not something we have to ask about. It just becomes how we do business, and it's good to see.
Any comments? Sorry, I can't. Sorry about this. I can't read my glasses. Jay, Councillor Flannery.
Thank you, Paul. Just looking at the assessment, Matt, it was obviously close scoring here, and they clearly won this, which is good to see on the social value score. Can I just ask how we're measuring and what they're actually proposing in terms of social value? Because historically, people will propose quite a bit, but actually getting it measured and reported back because it's such a significant issue when they're winning the contract on that basis that it's measured. So how are we measuring it, and where's it coming back to? Thank you.
I'll have to get you that. It's not in the report. To be fair, the tendering exercise is an officer process. It's not something that I get involved in unless there's something really that I need to. So, we'll have that and I can get it to you. It's not a problem.
Any other questions from any members? No. Okay. So it has been proposed and seconded that to award the contract for the refurbishment of new Longton play area to Compan Limited for a fixed price of £135,000. Can we please have a show of hands? Yep, that's approved unanimously. Now, unfortunately, we need to take a vote now on excluding the press and public for the following item of business on the grounds that it involves the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in paragraph 3 of the Local Government Act 1972. In particular, paragraph 3, information relating to the financial or business affairs of any particular person, including the authority holding that information. I'm happy to propose that we exclude the press and public. Can I have a seconder, please?
Seconded.
Thanks, Aniela. Can we take a vote, please? Okay, that's unanimous. I do apologise to anybody that is watching in, but we now need to switch off the YouTube.